Senator, welcome back to the program. Okay, so cartels in Mexico. How is it that President Trump could rid the world of these evil satanic people and do so in a way that's kind of kick-ass and from the 1800s?
One of the enumerated powers of Congress is found in Article 1, Section 8, gives us the power to grant letters of marque and reprisal. That's why I've introduced a bill called the Cartel Marque and Reprisal Authorization Act. I'm the Senate author and sponsor, and my counterpart in the House is Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Fantastic individual. Look, letters of marque and reprisal have, since the American founding, allowed the United States, through the Congress, to authorize privateers to go after organizations, criminal organizations, take loot, whether on land or on sea, return to the United States and receive a premium from the United States for their capture. So this is a way that the United States could do more with less by harnessing the power of individuals to act when authorized to act by the U.S. Congress. So, ever since Mexican security forces were able to kill El Mencho, the head of the murderous CJNG gang cartel in Mexico, we've seen our southern neighbor plunge into this awful chaos of violence and terror attacks, all kinds of retaliatory activity. It's really scary that we share a border with a country that's in the thralls of this awful disruption and under the grip of narco-terrorists who are responsible for the deaths of many, many Americans and for immense suffering throughout their own country in Mexico. And so it's one of the many reasons why we need letters of marque and reprisal now more than ever.
So then this would just be effectively like hunting pirates, right? Like, was this the last time that this was used?
Yeah, so it's been a very long time since we've used it. It was fairly common at the American founding. We've hardly used it since then. But the point is, we allow people, through a letter of marque and reprisal issued by Congress, they can go and they can take their assets, and insofar as they're able to return to the United States with them, they can receive a reward when they get back to the United States with those assets.
So then this sounds like a perfect opportunity for like an Eric Prince or for some other operator to go and solve a problem across the border in Mexico. Because I see these guys, like, they're flexing with all their gear and they're flexing with all this tactical gear. Like, they have no training, they have no tech, they have no AI, they have like no discombobulator. I think that you could actually, defeat the cartels relatively easily with a properly trained force.
Yeah, well, we could certainly degrade them. Now, look, let's not mince words here. We got to be clear about the fact that these are sophisticated entities. Many of them do have training. A lot of them do have pretty sophisticated equipment. I don't doubt, but that they are able to use all kinds of high-tech tools, including but not limited to artificial intelligence, to do what they need to do. Remember, Benny, the United States government, from 2021 through 2024, enriched these cartels to the tune of many tens of billions of dollars through Biden's open border policies. They brought in 10 to 15 million illegal immigrants into this country. For every single one of those individuals, they got paid many thousands of dollars. In some circumstances, it was into the tens of thousands of dollars per head. And that's why we know that they reaped this huge windfall. With that windfall, they were able to further escalate on the human trafficking front and simultaneously dual task it as part of their drug trafficking operation. So we have enriched them. We, our government, through the Biden administration, helped them get very rich and very powerful. And with that wealth and power, they were able to acquire a lot of what we would call weapons of war. And so these are to be taken very seriously. I'm not going to pretend that any effort to defeat them would be easy. But if we were to pass this legislation, the Cartel Marque and Reprisal Authorization Act, I think it would be a step in the right direction toward weakening them, defending our own shores, and seizing cartel assets.
I'm just still sort of hopped up on the discombobulator. I'm sorry, Senator. I mean, like, I don't pretend. I didn't serve in the military. I don't pretend to be an expert on these things, but it was just really exciting to read now some very detailed long form on what happened with the capture of Nicolas Maduro. I mean, it's just some of the most badass stuff I've ever read in my life. It's just really impressive. It makes you proud to be an American. We're defeating the Canadians in hockey, both men and women's teams. It just makes you proud to be American. Most gold medals that we've ever won in the Olympics. It's just like, I know a lot of great athletes, obviously from Utah and from your state. It just makes you proud to be an American. And I just kind of like, and it's just really selfish of me, I want to see the discombobulator in action, right? Like, I'd like to see it, I'd like to see it in the daytime. Yeah. So it's a kind of selfish.
Or at night. Anytime you can get a look at that.
I just want to,
it's time well spent.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's move forward here to the Save Act. I mean, obviously, you got what you promised us last time you were on the show, live in DC. You said, we are going to get 50. And here's 50. And so Susan Collin comes around, and who knows, what might happen next. But, like, you have the 50 votes, and now we push to the talking filibuster. You've sort of detailed exactly how that would work, but perhaps you could give us a status update on where the Senate is right now in initiating that process, because if you have 50, that's great, but it still won't, of course, beat a traditional zombie filibuster.
Right. That's a choice that we've got to make. That's something that we have to affirmatively do, because it won't occur by default. So, look, the biggest thing that we're facing right now is uncertainty. And we've got to get Republican senators, ideally all 50, if not more, but at least those 50 who are now supportive of the Save America Act, need to become comfortable with the idea that we need to take to the floor. We need to make the Democrats who want to filibuster this bill speak. It shouldn't be that complicated. It's not that complicated. It just takes a fair amount of time. And it's something that hasn't been done in several decades, but it can be done. Remember, Benny, when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was enacted, they had to overcome what I call a cloture deficit that's much bigger than what we're facing here. We are right now 10 votes shy of achieving cloture. In the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the day it passed the House of Representatives, it had a cloture deficit of about 26 votes. They closed that on a bill that's much more complicated than the Save America Act, on a bill that, while it was growing in popularity at the time and had a simple majority of Americans behind it, it wasn't nearly as overwhelmingly popular as the Save America Act is today, where we're at 85% of Americans who support it. So I think it should be easier to close that gap by putting it on the floor, making the senators wanting to filibuster it actually speak. Nothing focuses the mind quite like having to speak day after day in order to delay and oppose an overwhelmingly popular piece of legislation as to which there are no legitimate public policy arguments. So that's what we want to do. We are expected this week to be voting on some legislation to keep the Department of Homeland Security funded. The Democrats defunded that. It's understandable why we'd want to address that right away. But as soon as we're off of that bill, I hope and continue to ask my colleagues that we turn next to the Save America Act, we put it on the floor, and we make the Democrats filibuster by speaking.